Hello, and thank you so much for joining me. My name is Sasha Reed. Today I've got another fun, quick tutorial for you on another craft that we can do when we're stuck in this lockdown. This is a very simple, quick, and easy craft. I'm going to share with you 3 different ways that you can make this project. Now, to get started, you're going to need some supplies. You're going to need some chocolate bars, whatever, or sweets, whatever you've got, something to go in your little handbag. Then you're going to need some kind of ruler to measure out your chocolate bars and work out how much paper you need, what length and size. Some ribbon, some twine, some thread, anything kind of string-like is going to be needed to either close your bag or have it as the handle. Some tape adhesive is best. You could also use a glue stick. You will need some kind of tape though at some point. You will also need a hole punch. This does look like a dentist tool, but I promise you it is just a heavy duty hole punch. It's the best thing I've ever bought. I love it, punches through everything, but that's what that is. That's a hole punch. And some scissors to trim various bits. I've got these Tim Holtz tonic scissors. They're really handy and really good. A pencil to mark your measurements, write down your measurements as well, and some embellishments. So I've got these little sequin jars from my friend Natasha Foote here on YouTube. She also sent me this glorious, amazing, beautiful paper pad. So I'm using up some of Natasha's goodies that she sent me. I'll link the video down below to the unboxing of all the stuff she sent me. It was a little while ago now, but I absolutely love the things she sent, and this is perfect for that. I've got this paper pad which I picked up when I was in Canada visiting my family. So I'm going to use this one as well to share with you how you can kind of use it as a 12 by 12 pack. You'll see my samples as well with that. So this is just a quick run through of what the paper pad looks like. Then you could also use copy paper. So I'm not saying you need all these things, but these are the options you could use. This is just printer copy paper that I pulled out my printer, and I'm going to share with you how you can make your own fun, beautiful paper. So I've got some paints here. These are the Arteza watercolors half pan set. You could also use a more child friendly paint set like that one. That's actually the adult version, but I've got both. Anything watercolor is going to be perfect for this technique. Then I've got this baking sheet, non-slip baking sheet. You could use clear blocks. You could use a DVD case as well. You need something that is a non-porous surface, so something that would resist the water. So first you're going to measure your item that you're going to put in your bag. You want to get the length and the width, and make sure you write it down because it will help you to work out your measurements. Now the width, you're going to need to have a minimum, well, you'll need more than double of the width because you want your paper to cover the chalk bar, and you've got to account for the fact that it's got some depth to it as well. Now your length, you can do just a little bit bigger. So when I did all my measurements, I worked out that my length needed to be 11 by 4 inches, or we can use 2 pieces of paper. If you'd like to use up some 6 by 6 paper, or you've got smaller bits of paper, then you could do 5.5 by 4 inches. So you could do 2 pieces instead of one long one. Now, a piece of copy paper would be just fine to do one length. So what I'm doing here is trimming it down and cutting it to the size I need. You could use a ruler and scissors as well. The next thing we're going to do is get our watercolors nice and wet. So figure out what colors you want to do. It's helpful if you do a little color swatch of your watercolors so you know what you've got. Then you're going to get them all wet. The colors that you want, sorry. You don't need to get the whole thing wet. This brush I've got here is from AliExpress. It's a really nice watercolor brush that works really well for this technique. It's nice and big. And what you're going to do is just put the paint down. Doesn't matter where it goes, doesn't matter the pattern. I'm just trying not to mix the colors. So I'm putting the colors down and I'm just kind of dabbing them and blobbing them around. And I'm just getting a nice variation of color going on. I've picked 3 colors. I've got purple and a pink magenta kind of color, and then a sort of teal blue color. And I'm just kind of blobbing them everywhere. I'm not really caring where it's going. Now I'm sorry, I'm also partly off the screen here. I then spritz it with some water. This is just water in this little bottle. And all you're going to do is put your paper on top. And copy paper is great because it's super absorbent, so it just sucks in all that color. So that's all you need to do. Now, if you want more color, then what you can do is lay down a bit more color and do the process again. So give it a little spritz to kind of get it a bit more moist, and you can pick up more color. And you can do this as many times as you like. This is a heat tool here, so I'm just drying it in between and going for a third layer. And it's really quite fun. You can get some really quite bright, bold colors. Now, if you haven't got one of those baking sheets, you can take a DVD case and do the same. It is a smaller surface, but it works just as well. You're going to add your paint on and do the exact same thing. You're just blobbing it all over the place, give it a spritz with water, and then you're going to lay your copy paper on top and just pick up the color, and it picks it up beautifully. And because it's such a cheap paper, it absorbs it and sucks it in straight away. Now, this is what we need to do to fold it. You're going to fold it in half, and then you're going to fold it in half again to meet the middle. I will share with you the slightly easier way of folding it in the reverse direction, just so it's a bit easier to work out where you're going. But that is the basic fold for our handbag. That is all you need to do, is fold it in half and fold those two sides in half so you get this kind of W shape. Now, when you've got that shape, I'm going to share with you again on the next one a different way, different sort of steps of doing it. But for this one, I stuck down my chocolate straight away, so I knew where I was going. This is the first one I made. So I hadn't made one before. So I was kind of learning as I was going, and I kind of got better and better as I went and figured out more and more what I liked. Now on here, I'm lining it up right with that bottom fold line. I'm trying to get it right close to that fold line as I can, and in the middle of the two edges. And then that way, when we fold our paper up, it covers the whole chocolate bar. If you stuck it in the middle, it kind of exposes it a little bit. So you want to make sure you're nice and close to that bottom fold line. Now, if I was really good at measuring, then I would know how to measure it and line it up so that the paper covers the whole chocolate. As you'll see in a minute, it peaks, the paper, inside paper peeks out the top once we fold it over because of the dimension of the chocolate. So you can see there that I've got that blank space on the top. I'm not bothered by that. It gives me an opportunity to embellish and decorate some more. So it doesn't bother me whatsoever, and it saves my brain on having to figure out how to do it, so I have a longer length. So this is my favorite ruler. This is a Tim Holtz ruler. It has 0 in the middle, so it makes it dead easy for working out where your center is, because you just line it up and make sure the two side measurements are the same. So I punched my hole through. Now this is where I could have done my hole after I'd done all my decorating, because it did make things a little bit more difficult. And all I'm doing here now is just snipping those ends, because that's where I'm going to run the ribbon through. So I'm sorry if I'm rushing a bit. I always have to try and guess and remember what in the heck is coming up next on the video when I do these voiceovers. So I've snipped my ribbon, and now I'm just going to stick it through in the middle there. And this is where I've got my masking tape. This is quite a sticky masking tape. It works quite nice. And I'm just going to stick that ribbon through those little notches that I've cut. Now this is where I'm like, oops, not deep enough, which is really a bit difficult to gauge. The other trick you can do is you can hole punch your paper in that spot before you go and put your chocolate in. And the hole punch, I found later on, worked much easier than cutting those slits. So if you do have a hole punch, you could punch through there. If you don't have a hole punch, you could use something sharp and poke it through like a needle and poke your own little hole if you wanted to close your bag at the end. So you can use a glue stick here to seal it, but I like the double-sided sticky tape, and I find it's quite strong. It's much quicker and easier. I don't have to wait for it to dry. It's dry instantly. So here I'm just sticking down my double-sided tape, making sure to avoid the holes that I preemptively punched, which I probably should have waited till a bit later to do. And then I'm just going to stick it together. And now we've got our handbag design nice and sealed. So now we just need to work out what to do at the top. You could either run some twine through there, or if you've got any brads or eyelets or embellishments, you could do that. Before you seal it, it's a good idea to write your little message inside. And this is where it's quite nice. You've got this blank space where you can write a little note to your friend before you close it up. So this is where I wish I'd put the embellishment on after I'd finished completely decorating my little closure, but I got a little too excited and put that closure in quickly. So here we go. We've got to decorate a bit. These are vellum butterfly stickers. I've got some vellum flower stickers there to the right. These I picked up on AliExpress, and I think I use them on everything. They're really, really pretty. I'll put all the links to everything I can in the description box below, so if you'd like to find it for yourself, then you can. But do use what you've got at home. This is my washi tape basket, quite enormous. And I'm on a glitter washi tape kick at the moment. So this glitter washi tape is from AliExpress. I absolutely love it. It's a really good quality paper washi tape. Now, this bit here is where I realized, oh, it would have been better to have gone all the way around the top. But then I realized, oh, my embellishment is in the way, and I didn't feel like punching a hole and trying to guess where that hole was once I covered it with washi. So I decided to just improvise, cut my washi tape in half and have it a bit fatter on the back and a bit thinner on the front. So it's all a bit of a learning process, but that's kind of how my brain functions and that's kind of how I do it. And I keep going and I keep making them. These took no time at all. There's my finished one there, all done. It just didn't take much time at all. So here's my paper from Natasha Foote. This is where I'm going to do my 2 bits of paper. If you have got some 6x6 paper to use up, this will work perfect. Now pay attention to your pattern on your paper. Make sure you're cutting it in the right direction so that your pattern is facing the right direction. All you're going to do when you've cut your paper down to your measurements is fold it in half. Fold each piece in half. And it's quite easy, quite simple to adapt when you've got 2 bits of paper. So the next thing we're going to do is stick our string in. Now, unlike before, we can't cut slits because we haven't got one long sheet. So we're just going to tape it in. So we just put our string down, put some really sticky adhesive down. And again, this doesn't need to last forever because by the time the recipient gets this, they're going to rip it open and eat it. So you don't have to worry too much. Now I've covered the whole thing in double-sided adhesive again, and I'm just layering that second piece on top. And now we have the exact same shape we had in the beginning of the last one. We've got our little W. So again, I'm going to stick down my chocolate on the inside, lining it up near that bottom fold line, and then do the same on the other side. Now this chocolate's amazing. It's from Aldi. It's my favorite. If you eat it together, it's white and milk chocolate. If you eat it together, it tastes like the most glorified Kinder Egg. It is so good. I absolutely love it. So I was kind of giving my friends these little Kinder Egg packs in a sense. This is where I learned my lesson. I put the washi tape around first before I put my hole through. And then that way I can put my closure and I've got this nice even washi tape. So I found this cute little flower brad. I absolutely love it. Stuck it in the middle there. And that's my basic handbag done. I've also got these sequins that Natasha Foote also sent me. And they kind of all color coordinated. She was amazing. She sent everything that kind of matched each other. And I thought these sequins would go well on the front. I lost my sticky pick-me-up tool. So this is just a bit of blue tack on the end of one of my little pokey tools, and that's all I did, and it works a right treat to stick those down. So I've got the one end where I can adjust them, and the other end's got my little bit of sticky on it. So if you don't have a sticky tool and you need to pick up little embellishments, just grab your blue tack and stick it on something. It works a dream. I'm next taking these little pearls and sticking them in the center. And I kind of skipped the boring bit of me applying them because they were so little and fappy they kept popping off on me. So here's my finished bag. I love that paper. I love all the teal blues. I think it looks gorgeous. Now here's the other trick. This is when you've got a 12 by 12 sheet of paper. This is the easier version. If you fold it over inside out and then fold it back on itself, is much easier than trying to line it up in the middle. So this comes towards the end of my video. These are all the ones that I made up. I've given most of these out now. Handed them out to friends. I popped some of these little sentiments on the front, which are from the company I've got on the screen now. I've forgotten the name in my head. And I found all these little strips that I'd done for another project. I kept them and stuck them on top of all these little bags. Then I've got some of these charms as well and found some tags. So the charms are from Alina's shop on AliExpress. You get a massive bundle of different metal charms. And I just thought they were really cute to stick on some of my little handbags. Just to kind of decorate. So I've got a little bird on that one. And they're really sweet when you've kind of got little embellishments on them. These little circular embellishments that you can see. Oh, sorry, these are the charms from Alina's shop. Again, it's so hard to predict what I've done in the video. This one here, I did like a little wallet instead of a handbag and did more of a boyish design and found a little bike charm that went with my bike paper. This paper is double-sided, as you can see, so it's difficult to write your message. So I die cut a rectangle to stick on the inside so I could write a little message and then close it up with my little belly band closure. Then this is for Samantha, who's one of my top followers. She's a lovely girl who lives down the road from me, so I thought I'd make one for her as well. And my friend Kelly over the road. This is another one that I've made up here. I've not made it out to anyone yet, but you can use a little clothes peg. If you have a clothes peg, you could paint your clothes pegs and decorate them to stick on top. There's so many different options you can do with these. They're really quite fun. So thank you so much for joining me today. Please do subscribe, and I'll see you again soon. Bye for now.